Whoa. What up, friends? How are you doing? I hope all is well. Long time no chat. Just kidding. I just literally did a video. So I was watching Yanni's video right now, and I thought I'd do something, okay, for people who are being abused. As you know, I did save this young 7-year-old boy who was being abused by his parent and step parent. And I just have a little something to say about that, okay? All right, here goes. Rudolph, meet the people. Side bitch, meet the people, okay? I have pimples, okay? I'm breaking out here. And I'm breaking out all over my body like it's a whole thing. All right, so how to correctly respond. If a child comes to you, and I'm not a professional, this is just how I do it in my real life, okay? This is just the best way I know. It's best to call the police, get information from them. But if you are, because now when you call the police, they put you on hold. So if you're calling the police and they don't answer, here's a temporary fix, okay? We have to understand that even if we report something to CPS, it does take investigation. First person they send out is investigator, okay? That investigator, if she finds anything that fits the abuse allegations, then something will be done, like the cops will be called. Don't think that just because you report it that something's going to happen right then and there, because there are so many child abuse cases a day reported, okay, here in Bexar County alone, okay? So what I did, okay, because I met this little boy this one Saturday night who was a relative to the person I was in a relationship with last time, and she was a step parent. The step parent was related to, I guess, in-law of mine, okay? And she had a stepchild that nobody had ever seen. There was kind of like a weird cloud, like she never went to family functions. She was always hiding the kids. Suspicion was already there, okay? I met that little boy that one Saturday night. I had to excuse myself because I was about to kick a bitch's ass, okay? This is before I was healed, okay? I was about to kick a bitch's ass, and I was trying not to disrespect anybody's home, okay? So one thing led to another, and suspicion was there that there was something going on there at the family member's house that they were staying at temporarily, the one that I went over to their house. And they there was suspicion and evidence, okay? This is what I was told. I didn't see it. From that second, this little boy, whom I never met before, didn't know him, wasn't blood related. I just knew it was wrong, what was possibly going on. And my heart felt heavy. And I just had it in me to save him, to help him, because I didn't want him to be in the situation he was in any longer. We didn't know the details at that time. We just knew shit was going down, okay? So we put our heads together, we investigated, and the little boy did end up, because we had to hear it from him. He wouldn't tell nobody at all, okay? I approached him correctly, not in front of everybody, did not make a scene, pulled him to the side and said, oh my God, he had like markings on him. And I had to ask him, what's going on, you know? He was making up stories, and I could tell, okay? And I said, look, I came down to his level and I said, please, just tell me what happened. I'm not going to tell anybody, I promise, you know? And since I'm a sincere person, and a stranger, he did tell me. He told me what was going on. Sorry, it's hot in here. My AC's broken. And he decided to tell me, like, what was going on. So I was like, okay, cool. Could not sleep because I told him, look, you're going to go back home, but I promise you, this will be the last night you go home. You will be out of there. As much as I wanted to grab him and run away, I couldn't do that. So I had to do some tricky work here, okay? I was able to find out that Dad had a warrant out for his arrest. So that's actually how I got him arrested, like, quick. He had a blue warrant. He had taken off his monitor, okay? So luckily for me, that was the case. So There's dad out of the way, okay? The abuser. So then we had to let him go home with mom. So she was by herself and she was vulnerable for one night. And we found the evidence, took it to the school, yada, yada, yada. The rest is history. You see how it was smart about it? I could have easily kidnapped him and gone about it that way. If I would have called the cops, they would have just made a report. If I would have went to the school without any evidence, they wouldn't have done anything. I went with evidence to the school with my statement, and I went downtown to follow up the statement. You have to be smart about it. You cannot come on the internet and blast it to everybody, okay? It took 5 years to finally go to trial, and me as the only witness. Yeah. So I saved him because I was smart. I didn't work with my emotions. I made sure I moved correctly, and I succeeded. And he's adopted with his other siblings and whatever. And I had a part of that. I was the only witness for him, you know. And dad was over there thinking I wasn't going to show up, thinking I wasn't going to show up to the court case, and they weren't going to have any witnesses, so he wasn't going to have, it was going to be thrown out. If you don't show up as a witness, the case gets thrown out. Luckily, I was off that Monday, and the officer, the investigator, called me, and she's like, "Bitch, if you don't get down here, the motherfucker's gonna go free." She didn't say it like that. She said it professional. So I'm like, I'm on my way. So I walked into that courtroom, and he's like, "I'll sign the plea deal." This bitch had time that day, okay? He wasn't going to get away with what he was doing to that son, his own son. He was doing it for 3 years. So whenever a child is being abused, it's not wise, Liv, to go over here and blast it on the internet. So that tells me it's not even true. That tells me she's just trying to stir the pot. That tells me maybe possibly she abused her and is trying to cover her ass. Because we all know Liv is upset at her children because they are living happily ever after. And they have a childhood that she didn't get to have with 2 loving parents. And let me tell you a little something about that little kid I saved. I offered to take him into, before I called the cops, before I went to the school with evidence, I offered the mother, maybe he's too much for you to handle, because she said he was just some demon, right? Which he wasn't. That was just what she was saying. That was her excuse for abusing him. I will take him off your hands, okay? This is before I got to adopt my son. This was like 3 years before I got my Joel, okay? And this little boy was 7, okay? And I said, I will take him off your hands, just give you a break, and then I'll give him back to you. She said, I don't want him to have a better life than I do. A grown-ass woman! Oh, my God. Tell me how I stopped myself from beating the fuck out of her that day. And I was like, your sister is trash. Your sister is trash. I'm glad I never see her. Fuck her. Your sister is dead to me. Okay? So that's what I told my person. Okay? Because we're still in a relationship. And I was like, wow, this grown-ass woman jealous of a kid. So I get a lot of that from Liv. Jealous of her own kids because she never got to have 2 loving parents. So she tried to make them have a fucked up childhood by not being there and moving. But then there goes Antonisha to the rescue, stepmommy of the year, okay? And now look, they're thriving. They have a great childhood. And I feel, in my opinion, that Liv is jealous of that. And that's why she does these little stunts to try to get her kids in trouble when they get back home with lies. And I hope this is to the children, any children, Robin, Christian, little Ryan, or any child that may be watching me, okay? Okay. If your mom or other parent is filling your mind with lies against your other parent, whatever happened to your parents does not involve you. That is between mom and dad. Don't you ever feel like you have to pick a side, because you don't. Y'all are all a team, and mom and dad will eventually get over it, and they'll be able to co-parent. Do not involve yourself, and do not fall for the tricks that if your mom tries to get you to say, well, whose side do you like? Do you love her? Do you love her? I don't know. This is just coming to me, so I don't know. Maybe she says this. Who do you love, me or her? Don't ever Tell her, mommy, I'm not playing your game right now. That's grown adults business. You say that and you walk away, bitch ain't gonna say shit, okay? Unless she's abusing, you know. I just feel that she takes it out on her children because she's either jealous of them, because me as a parent, I want my kid, both my kids, to have a better life than I did. I would never get jealous. My daughter has already surpassed me educationally and financially, and she's only 23 years old. And I'm going to be 43 years old. Never for a second am I jealous of her. I'm happy for her. I'm happy because I had a part in her upbringing. I did that by myself, okay? Well, she had a dad, you know. But for the most part, okay, by myself, okay? And I'm happy for her and I love her and I want my daughter to do better than me. And I tell her that all the time. I've told her that since she was little. I'm like, you know what? You stay in school since you love school so much. Stay in school. I don't have any money for college. You know, like I would tell her, like, just stay in school. There's nothing out here in these streets for you. There's nothing here in this neighborhood for you. Get away from here. You know, I shoot her out. You know, I'm like, get away from here. You know, there's nothing here. I mean, of course she lives here, but I mean, she came back. But, you know, I would never want my child to do worse than me. And that would never make me happy as a mother because I love my children unconditionally. And the way I'm able to do that is because I am able to love unconditionally because I let go of what has happened to me. She still holds resentment towards somebody because of her fucked up childhood. Her mom, I guess her mom raised her, never, in my opinion, never forced her to do anything. Always pacified her, always saved her from crashing and burning. That's why she's still living there. Liv doesn't know how to live. She doesn't know anything about life. And that is her mom's fault, whether it's her mom's guilt or whatever. But her mom is not helping her. She is enabling her and she is setting her up for a downfall. What are you going to do, Liv, when your mommy is not here anymore? What are you going to do? What? Okay? And like I said, I feel she's just jealous of them because they're lucky to have two loving parents and one didn't even give birth to them. But she loves them and is there for them, wakes up with them, takes them to practice, drives them here, drives them there. When they're not with daddy, daddy doesn't have to worry because mommy has got him. Stepmommy has got him. And I think that kills Liv because she thought she was setting up a motherfucker. She thought she was setting him up by moving and being like, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be the deadbeat dad. I'm not going to help you financially. She thought. And they were able to survive without her money. And now look at her. Karma's got her. Everything you put out. I heard this saying like, life is like a boomerang. Whatever you put out comes right back and slaps you in the face. Bitches have been slapped. I mean, come on. She has been slapped, all right? And it happens to all of us, not just her. Like, it happens to everybody. We all go through that, you know, until we stop, until we stop doing stupid stuff like her. But till she can really, truly forgive Gerard, because she feels Gerard betrayed her for moving on and wanting a happy life, till she can forgive him, and then she can grow and heal. Till then, she's not going to. We're going to see a lot more of this bullshit, okay? That's all I wanted to say. If you are abused or you know anybody that's abused or there's suspicion of somebody being abused, do not announce it to the internet. You pull the child aside and you work quietly. Do you know how hard it was? I didn't even know this kid. I didn't even know him. He was 7 years old. I met him 2 days and I saved him. He would have eventually been murdered. They were hog tying him. They were beating him while he was tied up. They weren't even feeding him. He was starving. He was so skinny. I didn't know him at all, but I met him that day for a reason. I was there that day for a reason. And I did what I was sent there to do, and that was to save him. And now he's thriving. He's happy. He's with his siblings. So there you go. Anyways, I'll let y'all go. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.